for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
Welcome to Lions Nation Night Live here on this Tuesday. Super excited for this episode. It is Lions and Bears week. Oh my, and let the trash talk begin. It started yesterday, and I can't wait. And we got the great one here, Ant-Man. What's going on, Ant-Man?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing amazing. We are 7-2. We are smoking fools every week, and we get to look forward to kicking the Bears' ass this week. I am doing very well right now.
Oh, so am I. Doing very well. And, look, the hump to me was that Chargers game, right? Like, can we get over this hump? We did. Now the Lions got a nice little easy streak to go here, and we can go ahead and pat some of those dubs and continue to be dominant. What's going on, Nine Drinks? Man, I hope you're feeling better after what you told me. Good afternoon, gentlemen. One Pride, David Dickerson. Welcome. Let's talk about the Chargers game really quick, then we'll just go ahead and move to the Bears. What was your biggest takeaway from the Lions winning the Chargers on Sunday?
That mentally they're an incredibly tough team to beat now. I mean, the defense wasn't at its finest in the second half, but the offense, it just kept coming out. It was inventive. It was ingenious. It was just hard smash mouth stuff that the Chargers couldn't deal with. And it was aggressive. I thought Dan Gamble called his best game for the Lions, like by far, just constantly going for it on fourth down, just beating the door until the Chargers door got blown off and they couldn't deal with it. And I loved it. And you did all that in the face of one of the worst refereeing performances of all time as well. Our history with the refs is well documented, and we've lost a lot of games because of them. But despite the refs clearly being homers for the Chargers, we were just too good, and we still beat them. So there's a lot of historical things we're putting to bed here. This team is legitimate, I know after this game now, and I fully expect them to go and start laying some hurt on the NFC North now.
The refs were bad. I remember watching the fourth down, and then they called the penalty on Sutton. And I'm like, where was the penalty? And then we get to another fourth down, and I was like, folks, whatever happens, watch for a yellow flag to flow out there to keep this drive going for them. They did score the touchdown. The referees are awful. The NFL referees this year has been absolutely terrible. It continues to be the thorn in the NFL, and they refuse to get it fixed because they are that way. When I look at the Lions here, I love Dan Campbell, what he did in this game. I thought they had to be aggressive in this game. Justin Herbert is a guy who can score very quickly, and I love how they're aggressive and going for touchdowns instead of just getting field goals. If they get field goals, we lose this game. 5 straight touchdowns from the Chargers. The Lions like, screw it, we're going 4th and 2. Throw it to Laporta, get the first down, kick the field goal. No OT. Lions win the game. Love it. That is something you don't see in years past. If that's Matt Patricia, that's not happening. If that's Jim Schwartz, that's not happening. If it's anybody else, that's not happening. Dan Campbell felt it, said, I'm going for it. It was nerve-wracking, but I do believe it was the right move for sure, especially after you win the game. You think it's the right move. Lions sitting pretty offensively. Defense, though, I'm worried, man, because Aaron Glenn refuses to make adjustments. And Keenan Allen just free on every single play was driving me nuts.
Yeah, there are still some good aspects there. I mean, the run defense was really good again. Kept them down to 3 yards per carry, forced it onto Herbert's arm. So in that regard, the defense is still doing rather well. It started the game good enough. I mean, they didn't get anything in the first 4 drives, but then, like you say, the adjustments are the problem. And for me, the lack of organization is a massive worry as well, because before that last touchdown, they take a timeout And then the play comes in, and there's two guys running on the field at the last moment. They're struggling to make adjustments. Throw to Allen, who's in a mile of open space, and they get a touchdown. Like, you shouldn't be that disorganized coming out of a timeout. It looks like it's hurried. It looks like it's not prepared well. And that's where the problem lies for me. It's like the disorganization. It's complete opposite to the offense. The offense is fine-tuned, it's on fire, it's executing perfectly. The technique of all the guys is spot on. It is running like a well-oiled machine. The defense just feels like it's fractured. It doesn't feel like there's the leadership, the communication in there. And when they started going no huddle and putting pressure on us, nobody was taking charge. And Glenn wasn't doing anything different. And it's frustrating because it's the same problems. Like pass rush, like production on pass rush, always a problem. Like issues with communication, always a problem. In the red zone, always a problem. And these are the things that are starting to bug me now. There are good things with this defense. I'm not going to just go and criticize them completely, but there are things that are really worrying, and those are amongst the things.
And yeah, Dan Campbell talked about the disorganization and the lack of communication on defense. He talked about it in a press conference. To me, that was quite glaring that he could actually say that. But the communication's got to get better. He said in the secondary, there people just don't know what's going on. That is amateur hour. They need to be able to have someone that can dictate. Maybe AG should go up in the press box or something. Maybe that'll help him out. I don't know, but you're right. The disorganization is terrible. The communication is bad. That's got to get fixed. It does. And, you know, we don't have a CJ Gardner-Johnson right now who can be in there as a veteran who kind of knows what's going on. We don't have that. And so that does hurt. It does hurt.
And I think that's the issue. We're missing our strong-willed leader in there. Like, he's the guy who will tell you what to do, and he will damn well make sure you do it. Otherwise, there's going to be repercussions. And I think without him, there are leaders in there, like guys like Anzalone and stuff like that, but not with CJ's gravitas.
Yep.
The guy who sorts it all. You kind of feel like if CJ's in that lineup against the no huddle and all that sort of bits, you're going to be a lot more prepared with it. And this is where his absence is glaring for us.
But there's good news. There's good news. And this is my gut opinion. I want to hear your gut opinion too, man. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson's coming back this year. I think he'll be back least the last week or two of the season and good for the playoffs. Right when you need that leader. He's very active on Twitter. He's been doing cryptic tweets. I think he's coming back. I think he will be back, and that's going to really help out the back end of the defense. And if you want pass rush, James Houston will be back mid-December. So we have help coming our way defensively, in my opinion. Do you think he's coming back? What do you think about James Houston? Is it going to help?
I think you'll see CJ back before December. A few weeks to go. I think he looks like he's training really hard. He looks like he wants in.
Yep.
And, you know, I doubt he's going to be the type who's going to rush himself back and risk a serious injury because he knows he's on a 1-year deal here. He can't afford to rush back and get injured. So he will know when it's right, but he seems to be trending towards coming back sooner rather than later. I think we'll see him back in a week or two. Maybe even by that second Bears game in a few weeks' time, I think we might have him back. Houston, they might leave it a little longer. It depends. Because our future about going to the playoffs looks quite bright. So the season's going to extend. So maybe you don't rush him back. If your playoff spot's in jeopardy, like those last 3 games going into the Vikings doubleheader, and he's about there, you'd rush him back and you'd bring him back. If we don't need those head-to-heads, if we're kind of up there, I think they'll hold him out till the playoffs. But we'll see them both this year.
Yeah. Keep monitoring that IR, right? They got to do the activation where you get the 21-day window. So if you think he's getting close to active, that's great news. And again, we don't need him right now, right? We don't need him versus the Bears, the Packers, Denver. I know they won, but they're coming to our house. I do think they're better, but I think the Lions still are just a better football team than they are at our house. When we're talking about need them, it's more of the playoffs. So, we got to have him 100%, but hopefully he can get that 21-day window started. And I think, man, that's going to be great news for the Lions defense. It really will be. He's such a key contributor there. And so that is fantastic. Let's get the Lions and Bears. I was in a Bears chat yesterday. These Bears fans, I don't know if they're smoking something what it is, but they are extremely off the rocker. I was getting told the Lions are going to lose 37-7 at our house, that the Bears are going to completely dominate and destroy David Montgomery because he talked garbage about their team, that the Lions are going to get dominated. And it was stressed. All these Bears fans were just telling me how much we're going to lose this game and we're going to get destroyed by Tyson Bagent. I don't even know who's playing at quarterback. Doesn't really matter. What do you think about these Bears fans saying that we're going to get dominated on Sunday?
They're smoking crack. I mean, we beat them last year. We swept them last year with a team that was struggling. I mean, remember when we won the first one on the road against them? It was like our, second win of the year? And we were 2 scores down, and they still blew the lead against us. It was, this was a lot worse team then. We are a lot better now, and they are worse, if anything, than when we played them last year. They don't look like a good team. They've beaten the Commanders. They've beaten the Raiders. They've beaten the Panthers. It's like...
That's it.
It's like the swill on the floor of... I know the Raiders have somehow won 5 games, but at the end of the day, there's not one single impressive win in there. They've got one of the easiest strength of schedules of the entire country, and they're mouthing off that they're there. And we got this over the summer. Bears are going to rule the North. Justin Fields is going to own us. Ryan Poles is the best GM in history. And it turns out that he's actually not that good. His trades are terrible. His drafting is questionable. The contracts they're handing out, $100 million to Montez Sweat. Like, they got 2 linebackers
28-year-old
highly paid. You got 2 linebackers who've cost you $100 million, him who's costing you $100 million, and yet they still refuse to protect their quarterback. They still refuse to invest in their edge room of all places, which is, we know Bears football from year past when they've been at their best. It's big because of the defensive line, the edge rushers. That's their identity, and they've abandoned that, and it shows. Without that spine anymore, they're spineless, and I expect us to do a lot of damage to them. They can't hang with the offense we've got. They've got a good defense, but we've got so much versatility. All our playmakers are healthy. I mean, that showed against the Chargers, having Gibbs, J-Mo, Amon-Ra, all these guys on the field at once. He's got so many plays he can call. There's so many ways you can hurt an opposition. And, we didn't hear the Chargers D-line's names called once in that last game. The only person who made a play was Nick Williams, of all people. And, he's absolutely awful. So I'm just ready for this because they've been mouthing off a lot. They can't accept the fact they're us now. Like, they're the trash of the NFC North, and they can't accept the fact, and they're trying to... It's denial.
Yeah, it's denial. And you're talking about their sack leaders, which is not good. Yannick Ngakoue, 3. He's their top. TJ Edwards, 2. He's injured. Rasheem Green, 2. Justin Jones, 2. DeMarcus Walker, 1.5. Their edge room is not doing good right there, okay? And let's talk about their offensive line because it's all built through the trenches. Their offensive line is ranked 26th in the NFL. That is not good. Okay, so their trenches are not a strength for this team. The Bears defense, points allowed per game, 25.5, 27th in the National Football League. Yards allowed per game, 324.2, 15th in the NFL. Passing yards, 25th, 248.2. Now, their rushing yards for their defense is good. It's 76th, that's second in the NFL. Their defense got some holes the Lions can exploit. Ant-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the Bears' defense of past. It's building. They've invested a lot in the interior of that defensive line, and it shows. The running yards are not so much there because they've put a lot in to stopping the run. But then you look all over, there's no edge. The secondary, they've invested some high picks in, and you're still waiting to see those guys develop. They have some good players back there, but when there's no pressure on the quarterback, and this is the problem we had in Detroit for years, no pressure on the quarterback means guys have time to sit in the pocket and pick their passes. And even the best secondaries are going to struggle against that. So, and I think that's like the bullseye teams have put on them this year. I don't even necessarily think the run game stats for them are good because teams know you target them through the air. You don't need to run the ball on them. Just air it out. The defensive line is going to have real trouble putting pressure on your quarterback. So just drop your quarterback back and throw the ball. That's how you hurt them. You don't need to run it. Run it a little bit to keep them honest, but I think a good balanced running attack like ours will still be able to smash past what they've got. Like, we have the best offensive line in the league.
It's
Bar
it's
none.
bar none.
It's bar none. Our wide receivers are the best lot of blocking wide receivers in the league. Bar none. You've seen this. They all pitch in. And the ingenuity of what we have, it's going to overwhelm them for me. They're building. They're a rebuilding team with some individually good players, but they're not close to a good team yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, and their rush defense is number 2. Well, guess what? The Chargers was 6th until they met the Detroit Lions dual-headed monster at the running back position in David Montgomery, who is, I'm sure he's going to love a nice welcome the Chicago Bears. I have a feeling he's going to get a couple touchdowns in this game. Lions offensive line is dominating, and they're running the football regardless who is there. The Lions are going to run the football. Points per game for their offense is 19th in the NFL at 20.4. Not good. Yards per game offensively, 322.8, 20th in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 187.7, 24th in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 135.1, 5th in the NFL. Turnovers, they're at -9. That is terrible. Lions defense played bad. I think they're going to have a rebound game in this game because this offense for the Bears is not good. And it doesn't really, I'm not really too worried about who plays quarterback. It just feels Tyson Bagent. I think Bagent's better in the pocket than Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a better running quarterback, but their offense is struggling, Ant-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't worry about it. The one thing with this offense, they've got a lot of big explosive plays, which, you get from them. But there's a reason for that, because most of their offense is predicated around the run game and screen passes. Luke Getsy loves to call screen passes. They're just throwing them all the time. And it suckers defenses in, when they're just running the ball, when they're just throwing screens, when they're not getting very aggressive with the play calling. It suckers the defense up, and then they'll just launch one out to Mooney or to DJ Moore or someone like that, and they'll catch it. So that's where they can get at you. But, a good defense will see this coming. You'll be able to keep them bottled up. The offensive line is poor. You can put pressure on the quarterback. The quarterbacks are prone to turnovers because they're getting pressured so much. So you've just got to be wary about the little viper strikes when they hit you deep. But outside of that, it's very vanilla play calling. They try and beat you on the ground. They've had some decent success. I mean, they've even got Donta Foreman looking.
He's actually doing pretty good
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can stop that run game in its tracks, then they've got nothing after that.
Nothing.
Because it's all predicated on the play action that comes with running the ball well. That's how they as a team run. And when they get really shut out, like the Packers week 1, they just couldn't run the ball on the Packers, and then they had to start throwing it, and then they started turning it over. It's very vanilla, it's very plain, and even for Glenn and our defense, it's something that we should be able to stack up against pretty well.
Yeah, and look, they do got a good rushing offense, but we got a great rushing defense. We're 3rd best in the NFL, and we can stop the run. Like you said, if the Lions stop the run here, they're not going to win. They're not. I'm saying the Bears are not going to win. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to. And if the Lions score a couple touchdowns early, say we're up like 14-3, it's a doom for the Bears, because at some point they're going to abandon the run, and it's just going to be pass, incomplete, interception. Lions offense right now is a juggernaut, 26.8 points per game, 6th in the NFL. Total yards, 406.4, 2nd in the NFL. Passing yards per game, 267.4, 4th in the NFL. Rushing yards, 139, 4th in the NFL. Turnovers, they are +1, 14th in the NFL. Lions offense hitting on all cylinders, going against this defense. It could be a blowout.
Oh, absolutely. And again, we're seeing what happens now that we're fully healthy. I mean, people have critiqued sometimes that, but it's like, and they're like, other teams have been injured. I mean, like the Chiefs game, no Kelsey, no Jones, stuff like that. It's like, sure, people miss players and they're not as good. But for us, we've not had everyone together at once. Like J-Mo's now fit and healthy. Monty's back. The offensive line is fully healthy. You know, we're basically at full strength on offense now. So now that we're seeing the vision of what's coming together. And we are a team who loves to run the ball and establish that. And we did that in the Chargers game. We hit them hard on the ground, broke the spine. And what that does is it then forces them to commit against the run. Because what did we have? Like 30 yards rushing in the second half against the Chargers? We didn't need to run the ball because they had to start stacking the box against it, which means Jared Goff can start dealing downfield to his playmakers. That's how we win. We'll break you with the run game, and then when you have to allocate too many resources to stopping it, we'll kill you through the air. There's so much we can do. The trick plays, the ingenuity from Ben Johnson in coming up with ways to get at you. Like Brock Wright's touchdown. Like every Charger defender sold out against the run there, and you just leak Brock Wright out the end, and it's done. When you've got that much versatility on your offense, you're very difficult to stop. And say we match it well because we will just run the ball at them and we'll break it. You know, if we break their run defense, then they're not going to bring much to the party after that. They can't after the quarterback. I mean, the one thing we were worried about with the Chargers was the D-line. They were glorified spectators at the weekend. So, I mean, what the hell are we going to do to that D-line, which is nowhere near as good? This offensive line will break them.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know. Someone asked who's going to be playing Fields starting. I don't know what's going on, who's going to be the quarterback. I don't know if it's Justin Fields. I talked to a Bears fan yesterday. He thinks it's Tyson Bagent, but then you're seeing reports that Justin Fields almost played in last week. So, yeah, in all honesty,
we beat him twice last year.
We beat him twice. In all honesty, I, for the Bears fans, I think Tyson Bagent's a little bit better right now than Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields holding the ball way too long, and that's why they're getting sacked like crazy. It's a bad deal for them because first off, Justin Fields can run, but he holds onto the ball. Tyson Bagent's a rookie, and he throws a better pass, but he's throwing a lot of interceptions because he's a rookie and undrafted guy. That's what happens. So it's like really bad situation for the Bears, and you're going against a team. This defense got tore up right this past week. Every time that the Lions defense get tore up this year, they have rebounded in a big way after the next game, every single time. And they're home with the Bears. I think they're going to rebound in a gigantic way in this game because they're feeling the heat. They're disappointed that they didn't perform well. Now you're going against a underperforming offense, a bland vanilla offense. There's not going to be all this switches. There's not going to be this fast. They're not going to do 2-minute offense out there. They're not going to have a lot of audibles or anything like that. This is bland. This is vanilla. Lions. I think the Lions defense is going to smack them a little bit. I think it's going to be kind of like the Raiders game where it's just like they just beat you up.
So the thing that gives me hope for this is last year. I mean, they tore us apart at Soldier Field. Like, we could not contain Fields. We had issues in coverage. We had issues all over the field against them, and we were lucky to win that one. But when we brought them back to Ford Field, we absolutely stomped them. And it's the way that we suggested doing this time. We kept Fields contained. We were a lot better containing the edge. We stopped them running the football, and we forced them to take risks in the air, and they're just not good enough to win a game through the air without the run game, at least not against us. So that's exactly what you're looking to do this time. Just repeat what you did last year. And we have an even better offense this time out that can put up even more points. They're not going to be able to keep up with us if it turns into a gunslinging thing like with the Chargers. They won't keep up. They won't keep it close as the Chargers did because they just don't have the weapons to do so. So I am looking for us to be just decisive and dominant. We need to put them away here because they are not a good football team. And like with the Raiders, they're that level. We put the Raiders away in big fashion. And
the Raiders are even better than they are because they don't have a Max Crosby. That's just an absolute game wrecker who literally, I mean, he's their whole defense, at least when we played them. I know they're better because they fired their coach. Everyone has getting used to seeing St. Brown and Laporta catch a lot of passes, so teams are bound to start doubling on one on those guys. Good, double them. Because Jared Goff just sits in the pocket, he reads it, he does. If you double up on two players, St. Brown and Laporta, we're going to massacre you. We're just going to hand the ball off or send it to Khalif Raymond or Josh Reynolds, or in this case, Donovan Peoples-Jones or Jameson Williams. That's why this offense can't be stopped. There is playmakers galore everywhere, and this offensive line is so good, it just lets Jared Goff sit there, read the defense. Oh, okay, one's covered. Okay, two's covered. Well, three. There we go, 40-yard gain. And that's what's happening here because you can't stop it.
Yeah, they just wait until their number's called. I mean, we all remember Laporta and all his clutch catches at the end of this game. But what did he do in the first half? Like, he didn't do anything because he didn't need to. Monty and Gibbs were running the ball on the ground. Amon-Ra was doing it through the air. There was no need to incorporate Laporta into the game. But then as the game goes on, and like you say, more pressure is brought up for the run game. You know, they're stacking the box a bit more. That allows Sam to start taking these little intermediate routes and stuff, getting room in the field because the linebackers are coming high, gives you that room, and then you can start throwing it to him. And when you do, he just starts making clutch catches. Like Raymond has nothing to do all game. Then that big one at the end he busts out. They just wait until their number's called, and then they're ready. So it was just at different points of the game, it was different guys picking up the slack. And like every time the Chargers tried to adjust to the guy who was hurting them, they'd just go elsewhere and another guy will pick up that slack. And it is a wonderful thing this offense has. We can just go anywhere we damn well please. And there's not a lot you can do about it.
And he says here that would be J-Mo getting a gain. Eventually they'll double those guys. You can't double everybody. There's only 11 people on defense. If you double St. Brown and then you turn around, you know what? We're going to double Sam Laporta. That's 4 players right there. Generally speaking, you have 4 on the defensive line. So that's 8 players, okay? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Is you're going to put Khalif Raymond against a linebacker? It's not like you're going to have that speed. Okay, so you want to do that? Okay, we're just going to go ahead and give it to Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe we'll do a screen with Jahmyr Gibbs again, another 20-some yards against a linebacker. That's why this offense right now is elite and unstoppable. You can't.
And you had J-Mo clearing out the field in the last game as well. I know he only got a couple of receptions, but you saw him and you saw the defense having to drop deep to account to him. And that's why all that room opens up in the middle. He's becoming the guy we want him to. Like, we're using him a bit more in the short game now, but at his worst, you get him down the field, the gap's open. You can't just let him go one-on-one with somebody. And the Chargers were having to bring guys, those high safeties were having to come over to deal with him, and they can't drop onto Amon-Ra. They can't drop onto Laporta. Yeah. They can't drop against the run either. So it's a candy shop with 100 different flavors of sweet in there, and you can choose what you want to. And the most dangerous thing, because you can have all this, but if you're not executing well, it doesn't really matter. The offense is executing at an elite level right now. You see the technique in the blocking. You see the execution of the plays. They are all getting executed 100%. Like the motion, the mismatch. Amon-Ra's first touchdown the other day, Brock Wright coming across, the offensive line selling that it's getting ran to the right or it's getting thrown to him. And it just completely suckers the Chargers defense in. You throw it out left to Amon-Ra, one block, one offensive lineman comes out, you're in the end zone because you've just completely and utterly deceived them. They are executing to an elite level. So that just makes them twice as dangerous.
It's an unstoppable offense. There's not a single weakness on this offense. There's not. You got an offensive line that's probably the best in the NFL. You got the best two running backs, the duo in the NFL. Your wide receivers are deep. Everyone contributes at a wide receiver position. Your tight ends are deep. Jared Goff is just sitting there. Okay, you want to drop a safety? We'll run. Oh, you want to come up? Okay, we'll pass. Like, it's so easy for it because there's just so much weapons. Lions offense is absolutely elite, and it's going to be a handful. Let's do prediction for Lions and Bears, then we'll get to the mailbag here. For me, obviously, I have the Detroit Lions winning this game. I think it could be like a 38-17 type of game, and the Bears maybe get a late touchdown with 2 minutes left just to pat stat right there. I think this is a really bad mismatch for the Bears. They're walking into a buzzsaw.
45-17. I think we're going to absolutely muller the life out of them, and rightly so. These are one of the worst teams in the NFL, and I know it's in conference and a lot can happen, but we're just so much better than them. We're playing much better than them. This team is not phased mentally. Mentally, they are at an elite level right now. Technically, they are at an elite level, and we're just that much a better team. We're going to absolutely stomp them.
Yeah, I believe so too. I can't wait because I was in that chat. I was just absolutely stunned to how these Bears fans they're going to blow us out. I said, hey, I'll bet money with you. You think that if you really believe the Bears are going to beat us 37-7, let's put some money on it. I have a feeling you're going to lose a lot of money, and I like to make free money. So,
I mean, the line's what? We're 11 points favorites at the minute. I said I'd happily bet double that. Like I would take us. I would take us as 20-point favorites and still back us to cover the spread in this one. This is just the kind of game it's going to be. And like I said, this team beat them twice last year when it was not even a shadow of what it is now. And we're just getting better, and they're not.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. It's not going to be a cardiac cath game. Super, super relaxed. I think the next two games are pretty easy. I think the lines will be 9-2. That's not even a bold prediction. I think that's just what it's going to be. How much money will it cost McNeil to get extended? I don't know, man. I have no idea how much it costs. What do you think, man? To bring McNeil back, get him a contract extension?
I don't know. We've got another year of him yet. This is only year 3 at the minute, so I don't think we need to have this conversation just yet. If he carries on the way he's carrying on, he's going to be expensive.
Yeah, he's going to be expensive.
For sure. He's worth it to this team. You've got to pay your defensive line, and he's an absolute menace in there. So, I would expect him to get maybe 3/4 of what Kenny Clark's on, something like Kenny Clark's on about 90 million, something like that. I would expect him to get in the 65, 70 range over a long period of time, good guaranteed, if he carries on the way he is. And I think it'd be completely worth it.
Yeah, folks, if you got questions, put hashtag in the comment section. We'll go ahead and answer your question. If I miss it, well, I missed it. I'm not trying to be mean. I just missed it right there, and that's the way to do it. Yeah, they'll extend McNeil. He's definitely worth the money. The guy is good, stopping the run, losing some weight. Now he's sacking quarterbacks. So for sure, I don't know how much it would be, though. I have no flipping idea what it would cost to get a Lee McNeil because he's not like it's a big name, but he plays big. So he's going to get paid, and he should stay in Detroit. Absolutely. We need him on this defensive line right now. That's our weakness right now is not a lot of people is performing to what we expect. So hopefully these guys start getting it done for sure. And same with Jared Goff. I've seen a Spot Track article. I actually talked about it in a video today that they're thinking $44 million, 5 years for Jared Goff. End up, I don't know, like $205 million, whatever it end up being. But I think that's about right. 44.
I think they said it puts
him
10th. I think they said it puts him 10th overall, and that's pretty decent money. I wouldn't like the length. I'm still looking for this to be a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
Because he's still got one, so like a 2-year extension for me would be perfect. But I would take that money.
5 years, that would make it 7 years because he's got 2 years left in there. I don't think that's going to be something they would do. 3 years, potentially, or something.
Yeah, you don't risk the cap for too long. You give him 2 years, so he's got 3 years on his deal then, and then you keep your cap in relative health. So,
K. Press, do you think that we could beat the Bears this Sunday handily, easily? And this is going to be one of the easiest games, in my opinion. The Bears are walking into a buzzsaw. You have 40. What'd you say? 40 something to 17.
Like 48 to 17. I just don't think it's going to be close. I think the way they play, we're a much better team. Our trenches, for one, are superior, and we win by our trench play. So that's where the be all and end all is going to be. They win games by running the ball and trying to keep their offense on the field. Win the time of possession, so you can give your mediocre offense time to put up points. We won't allow them to do that.
Is the D-line not performing? Is the scheme? I think it's both. First off, you got to win your matchups, and there's nobody opposite of Aiden Hutchinson winning their matchups. Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, even John Kaminsky, Joshua Pascal, anybody's there is just not winning their matchups, and the scheme is booty cheeks. They're not making adjustments. There's too many missed communications resulting in bad plays.
I mean, they are performing in one aspect, the run game. They're performing at an elite level. Like, they are performing really well against the run. It's just the final production on the pass rush is not there. And, that there needs to be something. That is a scheme thing. I think, given the amount of touchdowns we're giving down through the air, it's like, dropping all these guys into coverage is not helping. So take your one-on-one matchups, risk it, and bring some more blitz, bring some more looks. Like you saw the Chargers, they were bringing Derwin James up all the time to blitz. Start doing a bit more of that and giving your D-line a bit more of a chance to make an impression, an overwhelming offensive line. But in the run game, they're doing absolutely great, and I will not take that away from them.
How many sacks is Houston getting his first game back? I'll just go with 1. I think he's not going to get a lot of snaps. They've been slow rolling a lot of folks after injury, and he wasn't getting a lot of snaps anyways before that. What do you think?
I don't think he'll get any, because I'm with you. I think he'll be on a snap. I think he'll do some special teams. He'll do a few bits here and there, but not because I don't think he won't. But yeah, I don't think he'll get the snap count to do much.
Who must be re-signed off their rookie deals? A lot.
Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah.
Oh,
Jackson,
I thought you meant this year. The only one.
Oh, this year, Jonah. Yeah.
Jonah's the only one this year who needs signed, and he should be 100% paid. And last weekend was the reason why. Like you saw on the 4th and 6th that we converted, he was the guy who came across, absolutely boxed his man out, and left a big ass lane for Monty to hit to get that done. Like it. You see offensive line play right now around the league is the lowest it's been in some time for me. It's poor. It's bad. There is a dearth of good offensive linemen. Do not let one of the best left guards in the league walk out. Don't. Because you've got to rebuild again then. It's stupid. Pay him. Pay him now.
Especially where you have questions at the right guard. Like, they're probably going to draft a guy at that right guard position. Yeah. Maybe bring back Graham for another year, but Jonah's got to get paid. It's not like
your deals are staggered. And your deals are staggered because you're quite far into Frank and Taylor's deals now. Penny's still got 2 years till you pay him. Oh, I mean, they might do it early, but he'll still be on his rookie deal. So you can stagger it so that it doesn't cost you in the long run. It's a great situation we're in, but you've got to pay him. Draft and develop. And draft and develop is about keeping your guys at the end, not letting them walk.
Yeah, 100%. They got to pay the guy. I agree. And then, again, they can bring back Graham for another year and then maybe just go ahead and draft a guy in the draft to develop to for that right guard position. But you can't let him go. And the dude's great guard, and we've seen what happens when you got a great offensive line, folks. If you look at all the teams, the best teams in the NFL has the best offensive line. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs. All these, just go through it. Like all the best teams got a top offensive line. And there's a reason for that, because offensive lines in the trenches, they win you and lose you games. And you'll call the bad teams, they got bad offensive lines. Quarterbacks don't have the time to sit in the pocket and they can't run the football. So keep this going. We need this offensive line to continue. Don't stop with the O-line. I'm predicting Jameson Williams a breakout game this week versus Chicago. Okay. You know what? Let's talk about J-Mo, because I thought he did well this last game. Didn't drop a single pass. Great block. What do you think about J-Mo in this last week?
I really like, me. I really like him, and I'm really in the kid's corner. I really want him to do well. And for all those who question his commitment and attitude to this team, I mean, just look at his reaction on Sunday. He has a touchdown wrongfully ruled out. That should have been a touchdown. It was a joke decision. Like, he could have gone and sulked in a corner and been like, oh, I didn't get my touchdown. I don't care anymore. No. I mean, he goes out there and then he makes that champion of a run and block for Monty. He's the first guy there celebrating with him. He's bought into this team and he's doing all the dirty work in there. He's blocking. He is space eating down the field. A lot of these runs he's making and that is to clear out the field for his other teammates. He has been selfless as a teammate. And a lot of work without any personal reward for himself in the touchdown column. And he's going at it. It's coming. It's like, he's not had that much time with the injury and with the suspension. He's still a rookie. As much as people hate it, it's like, it's true. He's still not had that many snaps. And he's growing at a big rate now. Like every week you see him, he looks more comfortable. So I think he's heading in a great direction. I think he's going to get more looks as we go on. All this hard work will get him more looks. And I think he's going to be a great player for us. But I loved what he did at the weekend. I loved his attitude. And he's a massive part of this team, even if you can't see it on the stat sheet.
Would you bring back Sue for the playoff push after the Packers game? What do you think? Bring Sue back?
No. I mean, we're the brand new Lions now, not the same old Lions who bring back has-beens and stuff for that. It's no. Is give your guys here the reps that you want. Bringing Sue back's not going to do anything but stunt the development of your youngsters. We're developing Broderick. Like, hopefully by the end of the season, you would like to think that Broderick's going to start getting looks in the team. I think Benito's been doing just fine in there. I think Bugs has been doing just fine in there. It's the edge room where we're getting let down. I mean, I saw a lot of pockets collapse from the interior on Sunday. It's the edge room where we're struggling. But I'm not bringing Sue back. We're a new team now. We're a young team. We're developing that way. I'm not going to take snaps away with a vet like him who's going to be here for a couple of games.
Do you think AG lacks the experience of how to make defensive adjustments during the games? I don't know if he lacks the experience or he's stubborn. I don't know what it is, what is going on there. Because it's consistent now. It's been consistent 3 years of this. And at some point, you got to make an adjustment. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And what do you think is going on here? Because I don't know. I have no idea.
It's tough, isn't it? I think when you're a professional like him who's played at the highest level, he's a great player. And I do think he's a good coach. So when you have a scheme in place, which you think is going to work, then of course you're going to want to win that way. You're going to want to give that scheme as much time as possible to work. But then I think where the great ones separate themselves out is when they realize, actually, maybe it's not working. I do need to adjust. And maybe he's not reached that point yet. But, certainly with the pass rush, something has to change. It's weird how we're so good against the run. We're so disciplined. We look great, technically efficient. Everything against the run looks perfect. But then when it comes to the pass rush, it's like we're getting no success at all. It's like, well, why is that? Why are we so successful against the run and so unsuccessful against the pass? I don't know. It's just a hard thing. Is it a personnel issue? Maybe. They said our vets aren't stepping up, like Romeo, Charles, Kamish. They're the vets who you need in there to, make the big plays when none of them have. So I don't know if it's a personnel issue, but you do have to change something. I think you have to give more help to the defensive line. And, we've had good success this year when we've brought Barnes up as a blitzer. We've had good success this year when we've brought the safeties up a little and had a go with them. And I just think sometimes he's just too eager to rush 3 or rush 4 and just leave it at that and then sit guys back. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, yeah, I think he's got to just sort of swallow a bit of pride. Maybe realize the personnel he's got don't work for his system and change it until he does.
FTP, you think Brad signs a free agent before the playoffs? A significant name? No. If you're talking about just if there's an injury and a backup guy, potentially, just like any team. But I don't see some name that's going to come in here and do anything of that nature. Anyone know Lions release standing tickets? Go to Game Time. Put in the code Lions Chat for $20 off your very first purchase. Tickets are on there. Game Time. Get the app, man. I'm telling you, if you want tickets and the cheap ones, go to Game Time. And you can look and see where you're actually sitting, how it looks like for sure. His game plan against mobile quarterbacks sucks. It does. It's just, man, I don't know what it is. What a weekend coming. Lions Sunday, then Pistons on Monday. Yahoo. Lisa's it's a work in progress for sure. Let's see, because our opposites of Hutch is a good defensive lineman against the run, but not pass rush. Aquara Brothers and Harris are too stiff for pass rush moves. We need Houston back. Definitely need Houston back. And Charles Harris, Romeo Aquara, other Aquara, they're just not doing it. And then they're all free agents. Guess what? They ain't coming back next year. You're not going to see Romeo and Charles back next year.
And it doesn't help that, the pass rushers are getting impeded. I mean, I don't like to use it as an excuse for Hutch. I'm not a Hutch apologist, but I mean, the dude was getting choked out on Sunday. Even Riz tweeted there were 3 successive plays where he got hit in the helmet, and it's like, come on. They're obviously resorting to illegal means to stop Aiden, and they're not calling it, which doesn't help either. You know, there's a lot of bad calls been missed against the D-line. Not absolving them, but it doesn't help either. If you're getting these calls and pushing them back behind the chains, it makes things easier. So, yeah.
When James Houston returns, do you think the Lions will be what we thought preseason? I don't think they're going to be like that. No. Will he help out? Yeah, he'll help for sure. Is it going to be some dominating? No, I don't think so. I think if you get Houston, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, though, it can elevate the defense what we need it to be elevated a little bit more. But right now, I don't think one player is just going to contribute to it be completely good. Do you believe that Ben Johnson is gone after the season? I hope not. Man, I hope not as well. But there's going to be teams that's going to be throwing money at this guy because he's such a genius that it's going to be hard for him to turn it down. And one of the teams, honestly, could be the Chargers. And boy, you know, if you put Ben Johnson and Justin Herbert together, that looks sick. But I'm praying no, he stays here. But, man, it's going to be difficult, man, to keep him.
As long as it's on the West Coast, I don't care. Like, one of those teams will face once every 4 years. I can live with that. I don't want to be like facing Ben Johnson twice a year. I don't think he'd go to the Bears if they trash their guy. Apparently, they really want Jim Harbaugh. That'd be funny. But, yeah, he can go to the West Coast somewhere if he goes. Just somewhere we don't have to play him that much.
Yeah, I want to, man, if I'm a coach, I don't want to go to the Bears. I feel like they're a mess. I think their GM's a mess. I think
Ben wants to stay here until his job's done. I think a lot of them will. If we win a playoff game this year, I think he'll stay another year because, you know, the jobs you can get now are nothing compared to the jobs that what you could get if you take the Lions to a Super Bowl. Like, every team in the NFL would be asking for him then. Some would probably fire a coach to bring him in. So, you know, you've got to play the waiting game with it. He made a great decision not going to Carolina. And he's going to think about that and be like, you know, I'll just be smart. Because there will be some good jobs become available eventually where he can go and do a lot better instantly and probably have a good quarterback as well. You kind of feel like the Chargers, if he doesn't do the Chargers, then I don't think he'll go anywhere because that's like a perfect situation for him with having Herbert and being able to do what he wants with that offense.
Yeah, I think the Falcons too. If they fire their coach, they got some weapons over there that he could do something. But I hope he stays. Hashtag FGB. When does Houston come off IR? He can come off IR anytime for the 21-day window. Out of 6, they expect mid-December. So I'm just waiting for them to pull him off that and then do the IR thing. Hashtag FYP, do you think that the Lions have become desirable destination, meaning that the days of overpaying for free agents is over? We have players wanting to play here. Yeah, I think it's definitely a desirable location now. You got great head coach. You got a guy who a lot of players love playing for. He's beloved by everybody. You got a team that's really good offensively. You know you're probably going to be in the playoffs for multiple years. Yeah, 100% is desirable.
Yeah, I agree. And I think none more so than for younger players. I think we've become a desirable prospect for like draft picks now as well. You know, guys who want to come here, guys looking to show up for us when we scout them out and, you know, the amount of faith we put in them. I do. And we've done that by building the young team first. Brad's not splashed on any big free agent signings too early, because that just shows you like the old regimes who are trying to get towards success quickly, trying to shortcut it. He's had 2 very painful years, or a year and a half of very painful football. And he started bringing it together now. And people are like, yeah, you can come here. And it's a great team. It's a great young team that has a lot of longevity in it and was going to have a big window for the Super Bowl eventually. We might have 3 or 4 years of this team, especially if you're staggering the rookie deals on contracts, etc. I mean, obviously the problem comes when you get to second, but you're going to have a big window here, so guys know that they can come. It's not just going to be one or done, like they're coming for a do or bust year and then they might be cut the next year. It's like there's longevity to be had. You know,
yeah, and it could be a good team for even longer than that, just the way that Brad Holmes drafts.
Yeah,
The
you just
guy is
keep
a
getting
genius in the draft.
Yeah, you keep getting young guys in, and then eventually, if you can't pay everyone, you'll trade them away for assets. You'll
Yep.
get new guys. It's sustainability. And I think that is what teams will look at more than others, because too many teams just open up short windows and they cheat, and then they can't sustain it. And then all these players get cut. I mean, look at Gardner Johnson. They couldn't afford to pay him last year. And he worked really hard. He didn't deserve to be cut, but because of the amount of money they've put in, they couldn't afford to keep him. And him coming here was big for us. I think that was where it changed. He is legitimately the best player at his position in the NFL. And he went, I'm going to go to Detroit when I could have gone somewhere else. And I think that's where the narrative really changed. But people know they can come here, and if they work hard, they get rewarded for it. And that's huge. And it's a player culture, which is, again, huge. It's about the players, for the players. So I agree. I think we're a very attractive destination now. And even despite that, I think, getting here is going to be very difficult for a player. You're going to have to show a lot to convince this coaching team to bring you here at the expense of drafting more guys and getting young guys. So you've got to work for it as well. Whereas in previous years, players have just let their agents do it. They've not had to work to come to Detroit. We've just signed them. But now it's like you've got to earn your right to come here.
Yeah, we're not overpaying. Brad Holmes doesn't overpay anyways. So you're not going to see that happen. He's like, okay, I'm not. You want to think of overpaying? Go somewhere else. We'll get David Montgomery, just what they did to Jamal Williams. So he's not going to overpay, and that's exactly the way you got to go.
I mean, how funny is that now? All those people who went, the Lions have downgraded from DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams with Monty.
That was hilarious.
It's like those tweets very quickly disappeared. I'm like, downgraded? We've upgraded. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact Swift's doing well. Great. But Monty and Gibbs are so much more of an upgrade than those two last year. Those two couldn't take over a game like they did on Sunday here for us. I mean, they're just amazing, and I love the pair of them. And I love the competition between them. Like you see in David, oh, God, my position's under threat. While I've been gone, Jameer's been playing really well, and he knows that if he doesn't play well, Jameer's going to get the snaps, and they seem to be using that competition to fuel one another. But they seem like, they're working very hard for each other as well. It's not an individual thing. They are working together as a group and bettering one another. And they both look like they're in the form of their lives at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, that was hilarious. Jamal, we downgraded. I'm like, no, you didn't downgrade, man. Montgomery's a better running back. You just missed the personality there. He's a much better running back. Oh, we shouldn't have drafted Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. Where's all those people at now? We got one of the most explosive running backs in all of football in the pass game and the run game. That is gone. So, like I said, after the draft, I trust Brad Holmes. If he wanted to do this, he wanted to take a tight end in round 2, I trust him. He's good at talent evaluation. Seems like he's done a pretty good job. So, he knows
They've told you what they're doing. They said they're going to build the trenches, and then they said they were going to build our identity as a running team. Well, coming into this year, we had the offensive line. So what did they think we were going to do? Ignore the running back room? Just sign someone in Perrine or something off of free agency or whatever? No, you're going to invest in a good running back room. You've got a solid vet and an insanely talented youngster who are going to work off one another. And you're seeing the benefits of that now. The veteran is playing at his highest level because he knows the rookie can beat him out. And the rookie is playing at his highest level because he knows that if he doesn't, the veteran will get all the carries and he'll be successful. So they're creating that atmosphere of competition, but healthy competition. And it's our identity. We run the ball well. We smash you in the face in the trenches, and we've built that.
What team do you want to beat in the postseason? That's a great question. Oh, man. I know I see people saying Seattle in the comment section. Totally get it, man. After that loss, you're a little bit I want to get some revenge there. I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I keep hearing that the Lions have 0 chance against the Eagles. I know let's look at last year, how it was a close game, and I would love to beat the top team right now in the NFC.
You know what I'd weirdly like in a way? I'd like the Vikings to get the wild card spot so we can smash them at Ford Field and be they can be the victims of our first playoff win in 30 years. Like, I just want to beat down on this conference so much. Let's really embarrass the Vikings this year. Let's sweep them in the regular season and then smack them in the playoffs as well. And I'd love that. I just want to unleash all the hurt back on this division again after what we've been through.
Need a statue of Brad Holmes down at Ford Field, for sure.
Win a Super Bowl, you'll get one.
Yeah, you win a Super Bowl. Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, and
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. You think Rocky had a good statue in Philadelphia? Just wait. There's going to be the trio of gods. Take a look at the team now and how many have been drafted in the last 3 years built, and they will come 100%, man. They've built this team in the draft, and these guys are playing good. Hashtag
an undrafted free agent.
Undrafted. It's like it doesn't matter.
Jerry, Brock Wright, these guys, they're everywhere now. But the guys know we give them a fair shot, and they get rewarded for it.
100%. Hashtag FGB. Can players sign off other teams' practice squads without paying the team for them? Yes, you can always take a player off a team's practice squad. Lions, will J-Mo get 100 yards this game? No, he's not going to get 100 yards this game.
This year.
Oh, this year? I'll say yeah, for sure.
I think he'll have a big game eventually. Someone is going to feel his pain. Someone who's really aggressive on defense and will leave him one-on-one will suffer with him.
Beat them 3 times in a row. Trust me, I'm done. Oh man, look, because you'd have to face the Vikings 3 times in a month. So I mean, I don't want to face the Vikings in the playoffs just because I'm tired of the Vikings. But I mean, you're right though. It'd feel really good to beat them 3 times in a row.
Beat them again and again and again, and just absolutely destroy their confidence.
Their souls would be gone.
TJ as well. What's that, TJ? You're tired of losing? Well, let's exacerbate that feeling even further. Loss. Don't you wish you were a Lion now?
Finish him.
Yes, your soul is mine. That's what they would do if they did that. Oh, my God. That would be funny, though. It would definitely be funny. We've been on for nearly an hour. Ant-Man, where can these people find you in your great content?
You can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We are a group of Detroit Lions fans from across the pond. We go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. You can chat with us during the games as well. So if you want to get some Detroit Lions views from across the pond, do come and check us out.
For sure, man. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. They're dropping a lot of good content over there, and they're still doing the college. That's what's really good, understanding about these prospects, even though the draft for us is not really much of a topic of conversation. But guess what? The season soon will be over because we're past halfway. And then it's all about the draft and free agency. So make sure you go ahead and check that out for sure. With that said, folks, peace.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it.